imagine you traded your voice to an underwater sea witch for a pair of human podcasts.
Good one.
Yeah, I'm proud of that
That's
one.
what you went with?
Yeah,
No, I mean, that there's nothing wrong with that. I just,
I went through a lot of lines, and that's the only one.
None of them, I'm sure, are good. But that would have been the best one.
Yeah, it's just a lot of swings and misses to get to that.
Yeah, so that's acceptable. We'll accept that. Yeah.
Welcome to the Disney Desk, everyone. Carter here.
And Sydney here.
And, if you couldn't figure out from that obtuse introduction, we recently saw Ralph Breaks the Internet. Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet
Ralph
2, Electric Boogaloo.
Breaks the Internet, yeah.
And,
oh my gosh.
Guys, I'm gonna be honest, we really don't know
We're
where to
really
begin.
stressed out.
Yeah, this one,
Okay.
almost instantly, we realized how difficult this was gonna be.
Unlike the rest of the audience there, who are children, we have, bills to pay and, responsibilities and lives and things to think about of importance. And we have spent the last, how many... When did we see that movie? A week ago?
Saturday.
Yeah, okay. So, just, lying awake at night, not getting any work done, just thinking about this film.
Yeah, the anxiety of this film, trying to break down this film in my head, it's everything else is all right. Yeah,
I couldn't even talk about it. I couldn't even think about it. I couldn't even think about it.
Everything else in my life is going all right. I have a relatively entertaining job. I have a fulfilling relationship. I have an average family life.
Yeah.
I have friends. I have a good friend base.
But now you're rethinking everything you understand.
Anytime I would have a moment of quiet and sit there and be like, what the hell do I make of this film?
Yeah.
We
don't know.
It's just, I think ultimately...
There's so much, when I think about this movie, I'm simultaneously really angry and, but really, pleased, but also, really upset, but, funny, but, angry.
And we instantly, were having trouble. The minute the credits rolled...
What was the first thing I said? I was I enjoyed myself, but I never want to see this movie again.
That was it. Yeah.
I literally said, I never want to see this movie again.
Yeah, and again, I feel like we should qualify.
Yes.
It is not bad.
It's not a bad movie.
Objectively, I feel like it's not
a bad movie.
There are great jokes. There are great character bits.
Yes.
It is gorgeously animated.
Absolutely.
And it's very clear that, much like Pixar, Disney Animation has reached that point where they are so consistently good that criticizing and analyzing their work feels like a fool's errand.
Yeah.
Because it's it's better than 88% of what's on the market for kids' animation. Cool, but how is it compared to the last one of these?
Yeah.
Yes. I think it is the most film I've ever seen from Disney. It is just so much detail, so much content, so much stuff. It's exhausting. Yeah, it's exhausting trying to break down any one part of this.
No, yeah.
Honestly, I think we need to start with the basics.
Yeah, okay.
Ralph Breaks the Internet 2, originally known as Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2. It is the sequel to the 2012 film Wreck-It Ralph, directed by Rich Moore, who before working with Disney previously worked on Futurama, starring John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman.
Yes. Okay. So far, so good.
Yeah,
okay.
Those are the basics.
Okay, yeah.
It apparently is the second Disney sequel to be released theatrically after The Rescuers Down Under, and will be preceded by Frozen 2, Elsa Finds Her Groove Again, or whatever they end up calling it.
Emperor's New Groove.
Yes.
The Frozen one.
Yeah. Queen's New Groove, I guess.
Something like that.
And in this one are plucky heroes, Ralph, who is basically a Donkey Kong parallel from an 8-bit game called Fix-It Felix.
Fix-It Felix, yeah.
And it's like the Frankenstein's monster thing. You want to call it the game Wreck-It Ralph, but no, it's named after the hero.
No, yeah.
And Penelope von Schweetz, who is from a Mario Kart-esque game, have to go to the internet. All right. I feel like that's as far as we can get.
Okay, yeah, we're making it, yeah.
So, me and Sydney had a lot of debates about how we're going to break this down, how we're going to analyze this thing. And ultimately what we came to is we're going to start just calmly and rationally. We need to do...
Talking through just what happened.
Yes, the plot. The objective things.
Right.
The things that we know are...
that totally happened.
Are real.
Yeah.
I have the Wikipedia page pulled up.
Cool.
In case things
For
go
reference,
south.
yeah.
In case my eyes
we
start
lose
bleeding.
our way, in case I vomit.
In case you vomit,
Yeah.
or I start suddenly, like, I'm talking, but the words
The
don't
words
match
don't
up with
make
my
any
lips.
Yes.
Or there's, like, black paint that comes on the mirror, destroying all of our art.
Yes. Or our eyes start, like, rolling backwards, or, like, steam comes out of our ears, you know.
Or,
any
like,
of the cartoon things.
discordant electronic music just starts playing in the background.
Exactly.
You ready?
No, but go ahead.
Okay. The film begins with our two heroes, much like the first one.
Enjoying their lives.
Yes, it starts with a little narration, and then we go into Ralph and Penelope just hanging out in the various arcades. The idea is the video games. We're going to assume the audience has seen the first one,
we
right?
We have to,
because it's like, why would you see? This isn't this isn't like the Avengers movies where you can skip a couple. Like, you need to.
No, yeah, the beginning of this movie doesn't totally make sense. This universe doesn't make sense unless you already know that they live inside an arcade.
Yes. Basically, yeah, Toy Story, but with arcade characters. All right, good.
Exactly.
We good?
Cool. All right, that's fine.
We're already having our first tangent, which isn't a great start, but okay. So, Ralph and Penelope, it's 6 years after. It's literally following, like, because it's been 6 years since the last movie. So they're just hanging out in the arcade, and basically the idea is their day job is their game, and then
they go to this bar afterwards, and they start the whole thing over again. Yeah. They're living the life.
For the last 6 years, we're led to believe for the last 6 years, they basically worked, hung out.
Yeah, and that's it.
Suddenly, Penelope is getting bored. She's like, I've done all the tracks 100 times. I'm better than all the other racers.
Yeah, she's starting to feel like her life has some sort of other purpose, and she has no idea what that could be, but ultimately she's totally bored.
Which, like we said...
And Ralph does not get it.
Yeah, Ralph does not get it because that was his entire arc in the last movie.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about later, but it's interesting, like, how they, like, grapple with, like, Penelope basically going through the same emotional problem as Ralph, but coming to a completely different conclusion.
Right.
So Ralph comes up with this idea of, like, I'll build a new track for her. Like, basically carving out the area of her game, because the characters can jump between games. Again, previously established.
I don't know what reason. Yeah, but they can do that.
So this ends up going poorly because... the kids who are playing the game
are confused, and Penelope starts, like, driving her own car without the child that's controlling it, and basically they break the arcade game.
Yes,
like, the controller is snapped
the steering
off
wheel.
Of
and that's a problem because, as many of you could probably guess, vintage arcade parts are not necessarily easy to find anymore.
Yeah.
Which, can I just, brief tangent, it's very interesting, there's this new trend to have, like... There's this new trend in, like, pop culture. They're making, like, miniature arcades, like, smaller that you can put on your desk.
Yeah.
Like, they have a bunch in FYE. Apparently, there is a Fix-It Felix one, but it sounds like they didn't make a lot of them, so you couldn't get them now. So I love how, like...
This is where we're introduced to the concept of the internet.
This is where our hook comes in.
Right.
Because all those hip young millennial kids are like...
Oh, we can find a new one.
Just get one on eBay,
On eBay,
dude.
Here it is. But it's $200. And the owner
Which is honestly
of this...
probably cheap for a
I thought that was
vintage
fine.
arcade part.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's a steal.
The owner of this arcade says that that's more than the game brings in a month. So it would not be worth it. So he's going to sell the game.
Because he's from the he basically seems like he's still living in the 80s.
Exactly.
So in his head, inflation hasn't happened yet, and $200 is like $2,000.
Right. Yeah. So he's just going to sell the game.
Yeah. He's just going to he's going to break it down into its pieces
and ship it. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, well, that's it. Which, can I just say, like, I love that the opening of this film, because I honestly was like, how can you do a Wreck-It Ralph sequel? You basically solved all the problems in this universe, everyone's happy. The opening of this film is basically the apocalypse they were trying to avoid in the last film.
Yeah.
Because the last film was all about, these monsters from other games have come into Sugar Rush, and they are basically destroying it. Mm-hmm. And they need to stop it, because if they don't stop it from being destroyed, Penelope will die. This one opens with that, where we see all of these characters we met from the previous movie, running in terror as their home is destroyed, and they are all made refugees.
And this is where we find out that if you physically take the plug out of the wall socket or whatever, that everybody like dies. That
Yeah,
you're
if you
dead,
don't
you
get
die.
out. Yeah,
Yeah, if you don't
get
make
out of
it
the game.
out before that, yeah, so everybody makes a mad dash.
Yeah, I do love how like very literal their universe is in the sense of
Yeah.
like they live in an electrical.
They
live in an electrical strip,
and from the
thing
inside
that
it looks like a train station or some
Yes.
sort of like some sort of hub, but like you literally see like the metal prongs of
which
the
I
plug
love. That's
like
just
sliding in and out of their walls.
just visually, just
Cool.
genius.
It's really
nice,
cool.
simple way to explain this universe.
Yeah.
So Ralph is despondent about this because he's like, "Oh my god, what have I've ruined everything."
Yeah, it's his fault.
And Penelope is weirdly cavalier about it because in her head, because she's like, "Well, I wasn't feeling it anyway, so
Yeah.
we'll just hang out at night and I'll figure out something to do during the day."
Right.
That is when Ralph comes to the idea of, what if we went to this internet?
But you know what? Like, as soon as the internet gets introduced, which by the way happens when the owner like discovers what Wi-Fi is and decides to like
in
plug in
2018,
by a router, all
where
of a sudden
the concept of the internet as we know it has existed for 20
By the
years.
way, did you notice the like classic like Mac he was on? It was like
this
one of those
clunky,
like
one of those
blue...
ones that had the the see-through colored.
Yes, right. Those
part.
were like real popular. Yeah, he's like using one of those, and he's
Yeah.
plugging in a router, but it's like why don't you have internet if you have this?
How have you been able to run a business?
How are you doing that? Yeah. Anyway,
Which also, like he's complaining about not affording a vintage arcade part, yet he can find a retro Apple, figure out how to get it to
where did you
run
get
modern applications.
Right. But anyway, like for whatever reason, the police of their pseudo police are like, yeah, we're not allowed to go on the internet, and they don't really give an explanation as to why this is dangerous. And
They're
even
just like,
after
it's
they
new
go
and
to the
scary.
internet, like that doesn't even.
They never
there
face
is no
consequences
immediate
for it.
threat.
Yeah.
No, so I don't.
Ralph just comes back after basically being out of his game for 48 hours, and there's no consequences to that.
Right. Yeah.
So Ralph is like, oh, we'll just go to the internet and buy the part. And Penelope's like, yeah, let's do it. Go into the internet. Weird.
Mm-hmm.
They go in, and then that's where we're off to the races in terms of our plot. We're in the internet. We got to get to eBay. The internet is basically portrayed as like sort of
this New York City-esque
it's like
this,
very
big city.
Yeah. I want to call it cyberpunk, but it isn't cyberpunk because it looks cheery and colorful.
Yeah.
Like it's like
it reminds me of like the Lego town, like in the Lego movie, where it's kind of like it's like, literally and everything is awesome.
Yeah, it's a shiny, beautiful place with like lots of color and
right, like
vibrancy.
these fast-moving vehicles, and everybody has this kind of like cheery look on their face. Yeah,
yes.
it's supposed to feel happy, even though you're being forced to watch advertisements.
Yes. Which it's funny because they basically the separation between people who are using the internet and like the apps and programs and like stuff in it is like all of the people who are using the internet are a little blocky, like they have big block
little
heads.
Minecraft looking.
Yeah, they look like Minecraft characters.
Yeah, they have these big like block heads and like, but they look like they show the people in real life that are like on their computer or on their phone or whatever.
Yeah, and they look exactly
just like their little character, but.
And they have very like blocky, simple motions.
Right. Well,
and
it's this
really
idea
talk.
that everybody using they don't speak at all or really interact, but they do have facial expressions. They do like show reaction to what's going on, like. But it's interesting because it's like, what if everyone were really like what if like you were actually like a little character.
Yeah, in the internet.
Every time you open your computer.
Yeah.
And it's like, how does the internet have this type of information on us?
Well,
that they can create these avatars.
God, I wonder if they. On one hand, I'm like, I wonder if the animators actually thought about that and were trying to make a point, or if they were just like, well, this is a cute design.
Yeah, I think it was just a cute design.
Yeah.
But like,
although I will say, again, this series is great at visualizing pieces of technology.
Yeah.
Like, personifying technology is always weird, and they do a great job.
Yeah.
And I also love how, like, all the computer programs and stuff inside the computerverse are, like, they basically look like retro, like, well, not retro cartoons, but they look like cartoons.
Yeah.
They look like if you put them in Inside Out, they wouldn't feel out of place.
No, totally.
With, like, their weird, gangly proportions and, like, comical shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right away, they pretty much get to eBay right away. And
they go to the pseudo Google thing
to
figure out. Yeah, we see a lot of typical. We see like the search engine. We see pop-up ads. We kind of are loosely
Yeah.
presented with the idea of like the bad guys of the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, we get a rundown of
Like here's the internet.
yeah. If I have to imagine a lot of this film was just a big writer's room where they were venting about internet stuff and
Yeah.
like basically wrote down all their ideas. Like we see like a big Google tower and Ralph's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, we know where to go for goggles."
Right,
And of
yeah.
course it's towering over everything like the pyramid in Blade
Yep.
Runner.
Yeah, we see a tree of birds like
tweeting.
talking about stuff.
Yeah, they're talking about cats
Yeah.
and not like racial
Yeah.
obscenities.
Yeah.
Which it's like
I feel like there was like a Facebook thing.
there was I don't think
But
they
I
got the
can't
rights to
remember.
Facebook. That was the only one I didn't see, I think.
No, I thought I saw one.
They
I
might
don't know.
have.
Listen, like when I say every company you can think of, I saw the Purple Mattress Company.
Yeah. And I feel like
Which
we'll
is like
talk about
what?
this.
Yeah, we'll
We
get
need to
the
talk about this
advertisements.
on its own.
Yeah,
but,
like we have
there's
to
a
get
lot
into
of
that,
ads.
but yeah.
Like, let's just say the idea that this is kind of the Emoji Movie again isn't completely unfounded.
Yeah.
Anywho, they get to eBay,
Anyway.
which, again, great visualization of it being like a big auction house.
Right.
Like a literal auction
Yeah,
house.
where
Where,
there
like,
are
there's a
people
guy
that
going
are
like,
like,
hey,
24,
oh, yeah,
24,
24, 24, Tortellini,
yeah,
like
exactly.
Mussolini,
Yeah,
going
yeah.
once, going twice.
Exactly. But basically, they don't understand how betting works, and they come to the conclusion that it's just saying the largest number that you can think of. So, when they find the controller, they end up saying that they're going to pay, what is it, $20,001? I believe it is. Yeah,
Yes.
$20,001.
As opposed
how
to like the
much
300
they
they
bid.
were probably going to pay anyway.
Yeah, no, $20,001. They bid for this controller and win, and that's when they figure out that they actually need like real money.
Yeah, it becomes apparent that they don't have
that
money.
they have no money and they
And-
need a lot.
I do love like I'm usually against making your protagonist kind of stupid, but I love how just kind of dumb both of them are.
Yeah.
I mean, Ralph more so because the idea is he's a big kid, but like
But is
they're
it
both kind of dumb, and I love
is
that.
it dumb or like why would they even know this?
Yeah, I mean that's true. Like they have such a very like bubbled existence.
Yeah,
That
literally.
anything outside of their purview is just alien to them,
Foreign, yeah.
and it's kind of adorable.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like they play it for a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
So yeah, then they realize, oh, there was a guy who was saying we could play money. You know, there was a pop up
Oh,
ad
yeah.
like make money from playing video games, where what was that character's name? I'll pull
I
it up.
forget. It was like something spam something
yeah.
spam something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a pun.
Yeah. But,
Spamly.
Yeah.
Family, and he looks like a cab driver, and
a-
he's got a really like
Yeah.
use voice.
Exactly, yeah, but I felt like from the beginning I couldn't tell whether he was gonna be good or bad, even though he ends
Yeah.
up being like a friend. Like he ends up
Yeah, I
helping
mean, he's a
them.
goofy, harmless character.
yeah, he's harmless, yeah.
So his whole thing is like, and I will say, I'm impressed that this is one of the smarter like references and stuff that's in the movie. So basically, Ralph and Penelope get recruited to be basically game miners. I don't know how familiar you are with this, but basically there's a lot of people who will go into online games, farm for like gold or farm for items, and then they'll sell them to the highest bidder. To the point where I wish they pause and reflect on this more, because it's usually real humans on the other end
Yeah.
of that. Like, there'll be entire, like, offices filled with people whose job is just get as much gold as you can in World of Warcraft, and then we'll sell it, and you'll get a cut.
Wow.
It's a very interesting, sorry for the diversion, but there's a graphic novel called, I think it's called In Real Life, that was about this, and it kind of gets a little too white savior complexy, but it's still pretty good, and it's really interesting how it, like, captures it. It's very much like sweatshop conditions, like they work until they collapse. Like you're
Yeah.
basically playing a game 20 hours a day, which would
Yeah.
drive you insane.
Right.
But anywho, so basically they want to get it done in one shot, and it's like for $4,000, someone wants this car from a game called Slaughter Race for $4,000. A car that belongs to a character named Shank. So they go to Slaughter Race, which is basically like a Grand Theft Auto sort of
pseudo racing.
Yeah, a big
edgy,
MMO.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of an MMO where everyone's running around shooting each other.
Basically setting things on
Yeah,
fire.
like an
It's
AP
just like a dirty town.
Yeah,
that's
it's like
supposed to look
APB if anyone
dangerous.
remembered that existed. So they find the car, and, you know, it's protected by Shank and her hip gang of, like,
Right,
joke characters. Shank being voiced by Gal Gadot, of course. And I do love that her and her gang are talking, and she's saying something like, you know, we have to make it challenging for the players. How would you feel about doing the exact same thing every day? Basically turning her face to the camera and saying, this is the emotional arc Penelope's going through. I'm going to voice it so she empathizes with me.
Right.
They nearly escape with the car, but ultimately get stopped, which they explain, hey, we're not players, we're video game characters.
So please don't kill us.
Yeah. Which is weird that they acknowledge it, but literally none of the other, like, internet people they meet seem to talk about that. Like, hey, what the hell? You guys aren't users.
Oh yeah, that they're obviously like a little girl with like
they're like
candy
digital.
in her hair,
They're
and
digital
like a
characters.
Huge, like, dude.
Yeah, and no one else is like, hey, what the hell's the deal with
what
this?
are you? Yeah.
But anyway, so Shank's solution is they're going to make Ralph a viral hit. They make a video of him just looking stupid.
Yeah, blowing a leaf blower in his face, and then they put it on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah,
There,
BuzzTube, because YouTube is apparently too snooty to be in this movie.
Yes.
And that sets them off to meet. Basically, this sets us on our second, like our plot diversion of we meet
how we're getting
how we're gonna get the money, which we meet.
We meet yes,
who is
voiced
like
by Taraji P Henson.
Yes, who is. Well, we like when we map this out, we're gonna talk about the voice acting.
Yeah, we'll get back to them.
But
later.
she's awesome.
But she's a really cool character.
Yeah, a character with a lot of cool fashion and a cool personality.
Yeah, she's blue, and that's her thing. And she's got cool hairstyles and wears a lot of cool clothes, and she's very wealthy. Anyway, what's her name? Shank, specifically refers them. Go see my friend. Yes,
and it's very important to establish that Penelope is instantly infatuated with Shank being this, like, cool driver who can do all these crazy dangerous moves, and there's no tracks in this game, and everything's exciting and dangerous. While Ralph is like, this is too scary.
Yeah, he literally hates that game.
Yeah, he's
and the whole
immediately
thing.
jealous.
And trying to protect her as if he was, like, her father or something. Like
So they go to BuzzTube, and Yes is basically like, we're going to, climb on all of the latest trends and, and memes.
And sell you. Yeah.
And basically...
And you will not have your life anymore.
It's basically baby's first YouTube monetization of, like...
basically.
If you get this many views or likes, that equates to this much money. Which, unfortunately, the YouTube algorithm is way more complicated than that. But for the purposes of a children's movie for children,
she is
we're
the
gonna
algorithm.
simplify.
I think is what their explanation is, that she is the algorithm.
Like, she converts it to money for them.
Yeah.
So that's going pretty well, and, like, we see a news feed of... a news feed talking about, like, this new YouTube or BuzzTube sensation. All of these, comical abstract videos starring the video game character Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph, from Fix-It Felix.
Yeah, from Fix-It Felix.
Eating a ghost pepper.
Yes, eating a ghost pepper, pretending to be a goat.
Thing.
Unboxing something that's just bees. Which, honestly, I would say that's a good joke. That one got me. Because anything that's just bees gets me. So while Ralph is doing that, he gets split up from Penelope because Penelope decides that she wants to
be a
help
pop-up.
out.
She's still desperate for, like, some sort of adventure.
Fun. Yeah.
And then explains how, like, this army of pop-up employees are just sent to redirect people to watching Ralph's videos. And she's like, I want to play, like, let me do that.
Yeah. So Ralph insists that she gets sent to the most harmless, safe place they can imagine, which, of course, is an internet fan website called Oh My Disney.
Is this a real website?
It is. You don't know about Oh My Disney?
No.
Wait, hold on. All right, wait. Time out.
What?
Are you serious? You're messing with me.
Why? No.
You've never gone on Oh My Disney.
I don't think
I've never sent you something from Oh My Disney.
Maybe you have, and I just didn't look at it. I don't know.
It's basically BuzzFeed, but all Disney stuff.
What?
Yes, I swear to God.
I love BuzzFeed.
Yes. This is... it might be partially owned by
That's
BuzzFeed,
Lizzie
I don't
McGuire.
know. Yes. How... Oh my God, how have we not been... I am genuinely
What have we been doing
right
the whole time we've had this podcast? We've never even utilized it.
I assumed you knew about it, so I didn't bring it up.
No, I had no idea this was a
my
legitimate
God.
thing.
All
I
right.
just thought I don't know, man.
Wow. Okay, that's actually genuinely shocking.
Cool. Okay.
But yeah, she's
look.
there, and it's
yes as a pop as a oh no
Pop
the
vinyl.
advertisements. Oh
Yes.
no.
That's
No.
that like we'll get to that, but that's oh god, that's seeing the end of everything. But yes, so they get there, or she gets there, and it's basically, I mean, they've shown basically all of the
jeez.
advertisements have been built around this scene, and this is the scene that I think broke you like a toothpick.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a mental breakdown sitting in the theater watching this film, like specifically this scene, because it was just too much.
It's the most that anything has ever been.
We should just talk about that later.
Well,
Let's just
we'll talk
continue
about it a little bit,
with the
but
plot.
yeah, it's
Let's
everything
talk about
Disney.
what happens when we get here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about what they do.
You know,
But we will talk about like why
this needs to be its own thing.
I
doesn't it?
almost threw up looking
yeah.
at this.
So yeah, there's Disney everything. It's like
Yeah.
all the different branches of Disney that are there. There's a couple good bits. There's like a Comic-Con panel where people are asking Groot questions, and it's literally just I'm Groot. Because that baby Groot is
am
going to get
Groot. I
shoved down
forgot
our
about
throats, even though he's not even a character anymore.
There's people they show like
People doing a
quiz.
BuzzFeed quiz.
Yeah, literally doing like a which princess are you? But like it's presented like some kind of like stage show
Yeah,
where
like a art
the
game show.
princesses literally like that's literally their job. Like they're sitting in their dressing room just waiting because like oh somebody's taking another quiz. Like get ready.
Again, like great
they
visualization.
yeah.
Like if I could say one thing about this entire franchise, it's like, boy howdy, they come up with really creative ways to visualize things.
Right.
And eventually Penelope gets caught, and they're like, hey, get out of here, pop-up ad. She has to flee and stumbles into a dressing room
Princess dressing
filled
room.
with filled with
Yes,
all of the
and
princesses.
they try to kill her.
Yes, the princesses, which in this case is all of the canonical ones, Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Ariel, Pocahontas,
Ariel, Jasmine,
Belle, Merida, Anna,
Tiana.
Yeah, Tiana, Anna, Elsa, and Moana. Yeah.
Moana, yeah. Mulan?
Yes, and Mulan.
And
She was the
Mulan.
only one we were forgetting.
Yeah.
Yes, so
That's
unfortunately, no
everybody.
Esmeralda
Okay.
for you Hunchback fans.
Dang, Esmeralda's one of my favorite characters of all time. Anyway,
Everyone loves her.
I know. She's a hero.
So basically, they have a whole debate about whether or not she's really a princess.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out, like, whether she's a princess, so they start asking her a lot of, like questions, which,
basically,
like
the meta questions that we've been
is
asking
weird
since.
because it's, like, I don't think I ever totally connected to that, so, like, all these princess stories are kind of the same bit.
Yeah, where it's like, do animals talk to you?
Yeah, do you have magic hands? Do you have magic hair?
Do animals
what
talk
else?
to
Are you a slave? They literally ask her, are you a slave by someone?
Have you been cursed?
Have you been, like, asleep forever?
poisoned?
Yeah, yeah.
That's where
the
I got
joke,
my. That's
like-
where I got my. Then I have to assume you.
Oh, yeah,
I
you-
have to
you
assume
sold
your
your soul to
voice
a
to a
sea
sea witch
witch.
to get a pair of human legs.
Yeah.
Have you ever had true love's kiss?
Yeah, and then there's the joke that like made everybody in the theater really laugh, where
Yeah.
they were like, "Do you have daddy issues?" And she said, "I don't even have a mom." And they
And-
all in unison said, "Neither do we."
That
and
guy,
that was
you heard
funny.
me just go.
Yeah,
That's like if there's one
was a
genuinely
good
laugh
one.
out loud joke in this
Yeah.
entire movie, it was that. Yeah. So eventually, they come to the like. Oh, do people assume all your problems were
yeah.
solved by a big strong man? Which can we stop doing that joke? Can we stop doing that
Never.
joke, please?
it's like the only way that they can comment on feminism. Yeah.
But it's like it's so overdone. Like everyone does it.
Yeah,
and
it's super
It was
overdone,
barely
but,
funny
like,
and Frozen.
It applies, okay? It applies. It's the thing that worked for the scene for these people.
Yeah,
It's the only thing they had in common with Penelope. So okay.
Yeah, I know. And like I hate to be that guy who's like crapping on like the in joke, like, but God, I
This is
hate
what we
that
have,
joke.
so we have to live with it. Okay, these
Yeah,
are
just
we
deal
all
with it, Daddy-o.
contributed to this. Okay.
Okay. But yes. So and then Penelope basically teaches them the concept of comfort clothes.
Yeah, she literally gives them pajamas. Like,
Yeah, because she's wearing her like hoodie and skirt and leggings. So they're all
so
wearing
they're
their own.
all
Yeah,
are
they're
essentially wearing their own clothes, just in like a t-shirt and like sweatpants version.
Just color coded versions of all of their
Yeah,
comfortable
like
stuff.
Elsa has a shirt, like a Nike shirt that says "Let It Go," but
Yeah.
it's like it's a Just Do It shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mulan has a like Letterman's jacket for some reason.
Oh yeah. Tiana,
Tiana's-
they let her hair. Yeah, her hair is fantastic. Tiana has like her natural hair out. And
so-
what is she wearing? I feel like her shirt says something.
She's
like,
wearing like a green
fishy.
jumper with something.
Yeah, I don't know. I forget what it is.
I'll have to double
but
check
like,
that.
yeah, they're all and like Merida looks like. They kind of tried to like drive the point home that she's like kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sloppy AF.
Yeah.
So then we get to one of the characters randomly starts singing for some reason, which Penelope is like, what the hell is
It's
that?
Jodie Benson, which is like I'm trying to figure out. I guess we'll get more into her later, but like what kind of. I feel like she actually sold her voice to someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Jodie Benson actually literally sold her voice to someone. And she's got some kind of contract. Because I follow her on Instagram, and she shows up at Disneyland, like, every week.
All the time.
Yeah.
Like she is
So
someone
it's
who
like,
most certainly,
lady.
like she's committed to this being her legacy.
It's like, you've got some kind of contract because
Yeah.
they made you sing. Like, and you're getting up
Yeah,
there in
they didn't
age.
make any of the other
like,
ones sing.
you're a legend, but, like, you're getting, you know what? Like,
Yeah.
voices don't sound the same forever.
Yeah.
But somehow,
I mean, Jesus,
yours
Idina
does.
Menzel's voice has changed so much because
Yeah.
he just wrecks it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
But
basically,
so anyway, Ariel gets to sing, and she sounds great.
yes, as we would expect. And basically, they're like, everyone has a song. You have to look, you have to go deep inside yourself and figure out what you want. Which
Yeah.
prompts one of the funnier bits in the movie.
Look into water.
First Penelope does this song, just like, I want a wheel.
I need a steering wheel. Yeah, what is that what she
Well, a
says?
steering wheel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is something I would
she
do
says,
as a bid.
oh, steering wheel. That's what the song she says.
And Belle's just like, all right, there's a lot to unpack on that one. So is it a metaphor? And she's like, no, it's
steering
very
wheel,
literal.
a metaphor for something. And, she's
And,
like, no,
yeah.
I need a steering wheel.
They basically explain like, oh no, this is supposed to be a metaphoric song.
Yeah,
And
not a
Pocahontas
literal
suggests looking into a body of
Into
water.
Yeah. And by the way, like Pocahontas' hair just like is constantly
Yeah,
blowing
doing
in the
the
wind.
dramatic wind.
Yeah, with like leaves and things
Usually,
around
yeah,
her
with
head.
the like
That's
neon
a
fluorescent
thing.
leaves.
Yeah.
And again, I just love how like weird she looks compared to the others because there was
Yeah.
like a mandate from Disney to make that movie look mature, so she
Right.
had very realistic proportions.
Yeah.
So her face is like very blocky.
It is. Yeah.
So yeah, eventually she finds a puddle outside near like a trash can.
Yeah. She ends up back in the game. Like, doesn't she go back to
Well, okay, quick diversion. So while all this is happening, Ralph finally gets enough money because he like embarrasses
sold his
himself
soul
enough. Yeah.
long enough. Yeah.
This whole movie is about selling your soul to various groups and
Oh,
companies.
by the way, important interlude. So he figures out what the comment section is, and that's
that's the end of that.
that's the thing.
Yeah, they don't address it nearly as much as you would hope.
No,
Basically,
but yeah, he finds the comment section.
it just
and,
hammers home that he's
hurts his
insecure.
feelings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It hammers home the theme that he's very
He's an
insecure about
person.
everything.
Yeah.
Which I thought we got over that in the last one, but okay.
No, we did not.
Anywho, he gets enough money. He's rushing to eBay to quickly get it before he loses his right to the steering wheel.
Oh, right, yeah.
He calls Penelope?
Vanellope.
Oh my god. Have I been saying Penelope? this whole
Yeah,
time?
I'm sorry. It's Vanellope, okay?
I thought Penelope because peppermint. I don't know.
No,
Vanellope.
it's Vanellope, okay?
Okay, Vanellope for vanilla, right? So Vanellope is like, he's like, Vanellope, you can go back to your game and everything will be back to normal, and that's what prompts her to do go back to Slaughter Race with a big song about how it's the greatest place in the world where dreams can come true. A song called A Place Called Slaughter Race, written by Alan Menken, which is always nice that he can continue to get work with the Disney company. So her and Shank are talking, and basically Shank reinforces the idea of like, you two, you can still be best friends and have different like paths and visions. Which Ralph unfortunately hears because they have a
Because
little
of internet
walkie-talkie.
technology,
Yes.
yeah.
And inside internet technology, which is a
Internet
terrifying concept.
technology.
Which is a concept too terrifying to
I
comprehend.
know, yeah, but basically he overhears this conversation of her saying, I'm bored and Ralph is overbearing. Is that kind of what she says?
More or less.
Yeah.
Like, I love him, but man, he's really clingy.
Yeah. I want my own life, yeah. And he
yeah.
takes that, like, extra
Very
personally.
poorly.
Yeah.
So him and Splamley decide to go to the dark web to get a virus. And this virus, allegedly...
destroy the game.
Yes.
To basically, ruin the game.
I will say, if there's a part where the film lost me, it's this, because I feel
Yeah,
like this is
I
our,
hated this.
third plot. Like, I chastised the first Wreck-It Ralph for, not going to more video games. But in retrospect, maybe that was for the best, because this is, our third plot, and I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, we're losing the focus a
Yeah.
little bit here. Anywho, he gets a virus that apparently duplicates insecurities in code, which, he drops it into Slaughter Race.
And I was to say, I was immediately bored with this thing.
Yeah,
Like, as soon
it's a
as
lame
it started doing what it was doing.
It's like a snake.
Yeah,
with a
it's
weird
like this
robot
weird snake
voice?
thing. Yeah, and it has a voice thing, and it keeps repeating the same detecting insecurity,
insecurities.
copying insecurity.
Yeah. So
and I was
it's-
like, this is dumb. I hate
Yeah,
this.
this is not cool.
Yeah.
It spreads her glitch, Vanellope's glitch, which, if you remember from the
And
last film,
glitches the
she can,
whole game.
teleport.
Right, basically using the glitch.
Yeah, breaks the game, so they have to shut it down. Vanellope originally thinks it's her fault, but Ralph acknowledges, I didn't think it would get this
that was
bad.
me. Yeah.
And they split up, and Vanellope takes this medal that she had made for Ralph in the previous game and
yeah.
chucks it down
the cookie
into the
medal.
void.
Basically, yeah.
As Ralph's retrieving it, discovering it's breaking in half, the the virus finds him and capturing
Detects
his
that he
very
is
literal
one big
insecurities,
insecurity. Yeah. Mhm.
duplicates a billion Ralphs, and this is our epic third act.
Literally a billion Ralphs. A billion of just him.
Yes,
His whole body.
I did not think this was where the plot was going, but okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is 100 Ralphs now. 100 of
Yeah,
them.
100 Ralphs, and
Thousands
they are
and
all
millions.
trying to attach themselves literally to Vanellope.
Yeah.
They are chasing her now.
Basically shutting down the internet because it's like a DDoS attack.
Yeah.
Ralph finally finds them, and they realize, oh, we can send them through the McAfee security wall, and that will kill them.
Yeah, if we guide them all
through an antivirus thing.
Yeah,
that
they'll all
will
die
destroy
off.
them.
Yeah. So they turn themselves into one huge Ralph. Did you mention that?
Yeah.
They become
like,
one
we forget,
big,
suddenly the
giant
movie turns
Ralph.
into a kaiju movie, where
Yeah.
we have a giant, basically Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Or King Kong, rather. They grab Vanellope, climb up Google Tower, because, again, the biggest tower in the place.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph tries to fight them off to no success, until finally until Vanellope...
It's fine, I'll be your slave
relents,
forever. Yeah.
which finally gets Ralph to acknowledge that he's been an
I have a
insecure
problem.
jerk.
Yeah.
Which, acknowledging that it's okay if Vanellope really does want to go to Slaughter Race for the rest of her life, which I guess is infinite life, I realize as I'm saying that.
Yep.
So that causes all the Ralphs to disappear, which briefly creates a brief extra moment of peril because Ralph was currently on top of the creature and is falling through the air. All of the princesses happen to see this, realize...
And save the day.
Yes, because they couldn't do one scene with the princesses.
No, and thank God.
So, yes, basically it is this montage, or not a montage sequence, but an action sequence where everyone's using their, princess
Their thing,
powers.
yeah.
Moana commands the ocean to shoot up into the air. Ariel
Yeah.
flies through it because...
Elsa freezes that water. And Mulan comes in with some katanas and is doing
because, of course,
things with them.
Snow White's is just she uses her poison apple to cut some rope. Because why not? I guess they couldn't think of anything else.
I can't either, yeah. What's she gonna do, die?
Pocahontas commands her epic breeze to blow him into the air.
Yeah,
And then he's safely put on the ground.
Oh, and then remember that thing where, Aurora is, they're, weaving something? Yeah.
Which I didn't get at first. I'm like, oh, right.
She's-
Because she got pricked by the spinner
spinning
thing.
wheel,
And I'm like,
yeah.
oh,
So she's,
that's right.
using
And
this
I'm like,
wheel
that's clever.
thing to,
Yeah, Rapunzel's literally
weave-
weaving her hair.
Yeah, into, a rope or something? I don't know. I forget what
Merida
it really was.
shoots a bow because that's her thing.
That's a thing that you do. And then Tiana is the last one to
Wake him
seal
up
the deal.
with a frog
With literally,
kiss.
she pulls a frog out and
And it's like, oh, hey, Prince Naveen, I didn't know you were still a frog.
I was hoping we would hear him, but
Yeah, I was really mad that we didn't hear him
wanted a
actually
little bit,
because I love him so
yeah.
much. So Ralph and Vanellope have their makeup sequence.
yeah,
Basically, Ralph is like, hey, you can move in here. The rest of the Slaughter Race gang put her code into the game, so she's safe. They have a very emotional moment, which, again, Wreck-It Ralph is very good at, being, both films are very big goof fests, and then
Yeah.
have an incredibly emotional moment at the end.
Right.
They both have a piece of that broken cookie necklace.
Yeah.
And briefly, it comes back together as they hug, and they go off. Then we have a narration from Ralph. It seems like it's been some time that has passed. And basically, they have reopened the Sugar Rush game because they got the controller. The other racers are doing their thing. Oh, by the way, there's a subplot about Fix-It Felix and Commander Jane Lynch taking in all of the racers who are all bratty kids from Sugar Rush, but apparently they've gotten them to be disciplined. I know it seems like I completely forgot about that, but the movie does too, so that's fine.
I didn't think we would even need to talk about that.
Yeah, that's why I honestly forgot about it, and I was trying to make it a joke.
Yeah, I remembered that, but I was like, I don't even feel like doing that because I feel like that's its own thing.
Yeah, it feels like a waste of a clever subplot.
Talk about that.
But considering how much plot there is in this movie, maybe it's for the best.
Yeah.
Vanellope and Ralph are talking over comms. It's apparently they'll get to hang out soon because they have to shut down
on June or
Slaughter Race.
January 25th.
Yes, they'll have to shut down Slaughter Race for maintenance.
Right. Yeah,
which leads me to suspect there's going to be some trailer or something.
Yeah, something's happening on the 25th. Who knows? We'll keep a lookout on that.
Yes.
But basically, she'll be having a little vacation and she'll get to visit, but they still talk on their little internet phones.
They have an emotional goodbye. Felix comes to check on Ralph, and they say, let's get back to work as credits roll. Generic Imagine Dragons song plays.
Which I did not like.
Yes. As I said in the theater, it's about as good as any other Imagine Dragons song. Which is to say, non-existent.
Just sitting in there. After this overstimulating film, to sit through the credits of this Imagine Dragons song, I was like, this is torture.
Yeah, this
hurts.
Plucky, I
don't want to hear this. Yeah. And just color, boom, 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 boom.
Very vibrant.
This Imagine Dragons song, and you know what Imagine Dragons sounds like. I don't even know I can't even tell you what the song was, but just imagine
it's that, yeah.
Yeah, just like an
that
Imagine Dragons thing happening.
Then we get a brief mid-credit sequence in which we see that scene from the original trailer where the kid is playing on her phone or her tablet, and we have the pancakes and the bunnies.
That thing.
Yeah.
There's so much happening. It never ends. I have to tell you, this movie will not
This completely different
stop.
scene that's unrelated to everything else, and it becomes apparent that they thought of that joke, animated it, and realized it didn't fit anywhere else in the movie.
Yeah, and this baby BT Dubs is Moana.
Clearly the model,
and they
Moana
call
model
her
that they
Mo.
put kids on.
She says oh, hi Mo, what you doing? And she talks. But she's literally Moana, don't even play with me right now.
Yeah.
I know baby Moana when I see one, and that was totally Moana.
Apparently they couldn't find another baby model in the Disney vault to use.
So which is why not?
You bothered to carefully recreate all of these princesses in CGI, but you didn't have a second baby?
You couldn't even just take the baby Moana and make her a different color and change her eyes and her hair?
Change her skin tone?
Honestly, come on. Why are we doing this? Because I'm really upset with what happened with her. She does not deserve...
She's traumatized by an exploded rabbit.
She did not deserve this, okay? This is all wrong.
Credits continue to roll, and we get one final bit, which is allegedly the Frozen 2...
Are we allowed to talk about this?
I mean, we just spoiled the whole plot. I think this is fine. So there is a bit where it's the Frozen 2 trailer right here. Click. It's a Rickroll prank.
Yeah, and never gonna give you up. So anyway,
but
it's
John C.
Wreck-It
Reilly's
Ralph.
singing it.
Yeah, it's Wreck-It Ralph doing the choreography, doing the dance moves. What's his name?
Such a talent.
What's his name?
Rick.
Yeah, Rick Rawls, right, or something like that. Yeah,
Rick Martin Ashley Tisdale. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, something like that. No, but it's just him in the Never Gonna Give You Up music video and doing all the choreography. Yeah.
And it's John C. Reilly doing a bit because he's such a talent and so creative.
Yes, I love him, by the way.
I do.
I really love his show.
One of my brother's big argument is that he should have been nominated for Best Actor for Step Brothers because he just goes so off the rails for that and just goes so deep into character. Mm-hmm. And also because it's the ultimate of those Adam McKay super vulgar R-rated comedies where everyone just improvs their way to success. So yeah, end of the film.
That is what we were left with, yeah.
Do you want to talk about what you liked about the film?
I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. I'm do you want to record the rest of this later?
All right. Okay, I know. All right.
We
what are
gotta
you talking
through.
about? Okay.
We gotta power through.
What we Like,
like
it would be
the
easier
good.
for me to start with what I hate, because I just need
Okay,
to,
do you want to start with the bad?
get it out of my
Okay,
system.
Yes. I'm gonna let you go because I handled most of the plot. I'm gonna lie down.
I
while
always
you
do the
yell.
negative stuff.
Well, because you're more critical
It's
than
my
me.
thing.
I'm gonna lie down because I'm tired.
Okay.
So you can just complain about this movie, and I will chime in if I think of anything.
Okay, first
I'm
of all,
checking my emails.
my feelings were so hurt watching this movie. Like,
Elaborate, please.
because I am a millennial, damn it, and I have feelings that I think are super important. Okay,
Yes.
do you hear me?
Yes.
So, I
Continue.
know that my internet habits are terrible. I know that our entertainment sucks on the internet. I know that
Yes.
it's all
That the
stupid.
internet is basically like, it's basically the myth of Prometheus bringing fire to people, but then they proceeded to set themselves on fire and not use it to advance humanity.
I know that we are all corporate slaves. I
Yes.
did not need this movie to remind me. I did not pay $13.75 to be preached
Not
to.
including popcorn.
Not including popcorn and the soda. So, my feelings were hurt. Like, I was like, who does this movie think it is criticizing YouTube virality, okay?
Yes. Like, it
I was like, wow, are you kidding here?
it calls out people, like, it feels like it was, the writer's room was a lot of, like, guys, yeah.
Broing,
40-something
bros broing.
Which,
yeah.
to be fair, the director did do Futurama, which, despite being, which I will say is a wonderful show, but also very broy.
Yeah, no, that is a total broy cast.
But yes,
the bro
they're
cast.
basically broing off, joking about, like, what annoys them about their kids.
Yeah, they even, oh my gosh, we forgot to talk about how, like, in lieu of
A short,
short,
they just have, like, a little,
We
a
had-
little bit with the directors,
yeah,
like,
saying,
"Hey,
hi,
we worked
we're
really
very
hard on this."
wealthy,
Yeah.
we have a lot of money, and we're here to remind you that you are making us more money
By coming
making
to see
fun
our
of you,
movie.
by pretending to have a
Skype call.
FaceTime conversation. Yeah.
Yes.
That was like, they were literally going like, nah, 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 in our
Yeah.
faces. You realize
Yes.
that?
Yes. Yeah, this movie
It hurt.
this movie feels like a baby, in some ways feels like a baby boomer lecturing us
It is a baby
millennials
boomer,
about
yeah.
yes, it's like, hey, we destroyed the planet and
Yeah.
let fascists take over the world's most important
Exactly.
democracy, but hey, you guys
Yeah,
are
you guys
you
like-
guys
you
do
guys
you guys
are
like
on your
memes.
phone too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys like a goat screaming.
Yeah.
You guys like bees. You guys like
That's-
eating peppers and
That's exactly.
destroying your innards.
Yeah.
Like,
So my feelings were hurt, but when we first get to the internet, like, there are so many instances in this film where I, like, literally felt nauseous and sick to my stomach. And when we first come to the internet is one of those, because, like, I don't know, I just suddenly realized, like, we paid $30 in tickets.
to see.
By the way, the tickets were $30 for both of us
Yes, together.
together. And, like, we just paid $30 to watch a commercial.
Yes.
This
As we mentioned,
Was a commercial.
yes. As we mentioned,
A
there are a
shameless
lot of
commercial.
ads.
They're shameless ads. Like, this is not the internet. This is an advertisement.
So remember in the Emoji Movie, for all of you viewers who saw it, where a lot of the plot was centered around different apps, where they had to go to the Just Dance app and dance their way, and they had to get to the Firewall app, to get to Dropbox because it has a firewall, and they had to go to Candy
Why was
Crush.
Dropbox in a children's
Yeah.
movie?
Do you not know?
No.
Yeah, and it bothers me to this day, even though that movie wasn't even that terrible.
What is there, LinkedIn too? Like,
Was there?
I wouldn't even be
There might
surprised.
be.
Like, that's
Honestly,
so
there might
irrelevant.
be. I don't remember. There was something weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of that because a lot of the plot's centered around eBay, and then there's like a Snapchat building and a
Yeah.
Tinder building, and there's jokes about like
Why was Purple Mattress there? Like, but it was like, it's not
Why
only
was
where
Purple
why was
Mattress
Purple
there?
Mattress there? Like, what does what do people, like, you act like everybody is just like spending their free time on their lunch break on the Purple Mattress website. Like, as if that's a relevant thing that we do. Like, there weren't just advertisements. It was so clear that they were competing. Like, it felt like these advertisements. Like, you could tell how much they all each paid for this slot.
Like, and it would be one thing if all of this was like building to a smart point, but mostly it just feels
No.
like snide. Like there's some potential. Like there's like there's this, like I talked about, there's the brief diversion about, like, game farming, which I'm
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of interesting things you could do in a movie that
Right.
involves this as a plot. Or, alternatively, the whole thing with, like, the reason why Ralph's videos make so many
Have so many views.
views is because he's following all the latest trends and also banking on the nostalgia of this weird 80s this beloved 80s character doing these things. And I'm like, hey, that's basically, that's a pretty accurate representation of YouTube.
Yeah.
Cashing in on other people's trends
Right.
and baiting people with nostalgia.
But, like, here's the thing, like, okay, for this internet scene where we're, like, seeing all of these brands, it's like, there are certain ones that we see, like, internet users interacting with, like the Snapchat. Like, we see, like, people with, like, the filters on their faces, and, like, we see this tree full of, like, Twitter birds doing a Twitter thing.
Yeah.
Like, so, but, like, otherwise, it's, like, none of these other companies that have their logos, like, just popping up here are serving any real purpose. Like, so why do we
They
have
don't
to
serve
see
the
them?
plot. Yeah. Because we don't have YouTube in this. You could have just made
No.
parody versions of all of these.
Yeah.
Like, heck, why did you even need Twitter? It's not like, if you want to have eBay just to have, like, that realness in the plot, fine. We go there, we see it. That's fine.
But you know what? Like, it's so funny that I've started watching Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
Yeah.
Because, like, I have to bring up that there's an episode where a computer is, like, teaching the lesson, and they're, like, he's trying to explain to them, like, what computers do and, like, why they're fascinating and, like, what's on a computer. And in the song he goes, there's only 3 things to do in the internet, and, like, they're opening these doors. And, like each character is, like, there's 3 characters. Like, they're opening these 3 doors, and it's all the same thing. They're, like, the first door is, like, hey, look, a line graph. And then the second door, he's, like, digital style. And then the last one, he's, like, digital dancing. This is fun. And it just repeats and gets faster and faster. And he's, like, look, a pie chart. Digital style. Digital dancing. And it's just those 3 things. And then the first star is, like, nothing. And it's, like, digital style. Digital dancing. And it's just, like, take pictures of yourself. Like, look at this trend. Like, take pictures of yourself. Look at this thing. Like, it's just, like, repeated, like, in a circle, like.
And again,
it's like
I feel like a lot of my complaints, it's like, I'm a grown-ass adult yelling at a kid's film for children.
Yeah.
But, like, just, I like, watching the whole, like, oh, you can make money making silly videos on YouTube. It's like, no, you know how that really works? You spend, a month and a half working on, like, a really good 3-minute animation, only to have it make no money because YouTube changed its gosh darn algorithm to, like, because a bunch of people complained about ladies making making React videos for money, and then you discover it's not profitable. Meanwhile, like, all of these people, like, follow in PewDiePie's footsteps because that's the only way to, because that made money, so we have to follow that trend, and then proceed to kiss his boots when he's not the #1 subscribed YouTube channel, even though his constant insistence on rape jokes and racism is why nobody makes...
racist.
Which is, his constant insistence on being a bad person is why he can't, why you can't make money on YouTube now, because all the advertisers are like, wait, this is what we were putting our money towards?
Yeah.
And yet they're all kissing his boots. Like, I have an axe to grind.
PewDiePie.
Yeah, like,
he's up there with Onision.
yeah, there's a bit in Steven Universe where they go to a battlefield and there's axes the size of buildings. That's the size of an axe I have to grind about YouTube. And it's just like, but instead of all of that, like, rich stuff to talk about, we're boiled down to, like, kids, right?
Which, like, makes me so upset. I think that's what really hurts my feelings, is because it's like, and I say, like, this movie hurt my feelings, but it's like, I feel like Disney is, like, making so much money off of, like, the fact that I'm depressed, and I wish I was a child again, and, like, oh, like, we'll bring back DuckTales and all the things that you love. Like,
then we'll
so
make fun
buy
of
it.
you
But then we're gonna
for
make fun of
how-
you for coming to this movie.
For how internet culture perpetuates all of this.
And I'm like, but you made money off of me.
Without being, like, really smart about it.
Yeah, I'm like, so why are you mocking me right now?
And it's frustrating because, again, they think of so many creative visual ways to represent all this stuff. Why can't you come up with creative ideas from it? Or themes from it, rather. And that, honestly, all of that leads to the Disney scene, which I feel like is the other big...
Oh my goodness.
I'm just gonna log in for a minute. I'm gonna check the Eagles score.
Oh my
You
goodness.
can
Okay,
take this.
I'm, like,
This is all
rocking.
you, buddy.
Okay, the
You
Disney
got this.
scene. I don't even know. Okay.
Well,
okay.
I will say first,
Okay.
it really is, like, Conan the Barbarian sitting on his throne, and like all of his enemies are splayed, dead and bloody around his feet. Basically, like a Kiss the Ring, sort of like, I have dominion over this world.
This is...
Act happy for me.
You come into the Disney universe, and you are immediately met with, hi, we own you and everything you love. Yeah. That was the message that I got from this Disney scene. Like, we own everything you love and have ever loved in your life, and thus, we own you. Like, that was the scene. Every Disney thing that is a Disney thing was here in, like, one room, and it's like not in like a charming like House of Mouse like Cruella de Vil,
yeah, it's like a shared universe.
Cruella de Vil and Mowgli are having a cocktail at a table. Like, no, okay, no,
it's
I
in
saw
the most cynical,
Grumpy
like silly way
interacting with
stormtroopers.
stormtroopers, and I wanted to vomit. Like, it
as
really
the
made
Star
me
Wars
I was
music
like,
is playing.
Yeah, Star Wars music is playing, like, while there are princesses on the screen, and I, like, wanted to cry. I was like, what is going on? Like, all of the Disney is in one place. Like, and I didn't take it well. Like, this is too much. I just couldn't handle it. And then we saw Stan Lee.
Yeah, there's a brief Stan Lee moment. I'm like, man, thank God he recorded like 4 more cameos after this one.
I know, because
if this was the last one, I'd feel
he doesn't
really
speak,
bad.
It's just him.
It's just
but
his avatar.
It was enough to make me upset. Like, sad.
You know, I think I described it as we were leaving the theater. This is the future Andy Warhol was warning us about.
Yeah, you did
This
say that.
idea of pop culture images just being repeated and repeated and repeated to the point where they almost have no meaning other than like a brief, visceral, emotional reaction.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm like, I should be laughing and smiling at all this because of how, like, cute it is. But I'm like, no, it's just too
I couldn't
much.
enjoy it.
It's just, it's
I
stuff.
couldn't do it. It's stuff.
It's just stuff.
I couldn't do it.
There's no, like, meat or bones to it.
Like, in the Disney store where, like, there's that, like, pyramid of, like, toys?
Plushies?
Well, like,
that.
if they came to life,
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah. It's that in the worst way imaginable.
Yeah. It's as if the whole Disney store just, like, came to life overnight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't handle that. No, like, I couldn't enjoy it, and thank God we went to the princesses when we did, because, like, then I could find
take
some
a breath.
peace. Yeah, I was like, this is safe. This is safe.
Because that's a more focused aspect of this.
This is safe.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
moving
think
right
that covers, like, again...
We talked about the boring virus thing.
Yeah,
and I was like,
the
this was a
virus
stupid
subplot
plot.
is very boring.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like it creates a problem where Ralph is, like, going through very similar emotions as the last one.
Right.
Which, honestly, both this and The Incredibles 2 have a very similar problem in, like, they kind of repeat a lot of the themes, but on a slightly different tune. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that is a problem that Disney's been having this year. Where it's like, it's a slight subversion of the plot. And, like, you can argue it's different because it's like, oh, this time it's about, Ralph learned to accept himself. Right. But now he has to learn to accept that other people can change.
Or accepting themselves. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, accepting yourself doesn't have to mean, like, accepting what you're good at.
Right.
Like, it can mean, altering your course and doing something different.
Oh, and by the way, they like, there's one itty bitty reference to breaking the internet, which thank God. Because, like, if they, like, and that was one of the most disappointing things going in that I was, like, prematurely disappointed about. And I was like, do we need to do this? Do we need to break the internet?
It's called Wreck the Internet. Just call it Wreck the Internet. Yeah, for God's sake, the name is right there. They even acknowledge that it's a stupid name, and they did it anyway.
Yeah.
God damn you, movie.
But, like,
you maniacs.
In the previews, like, in all the previews, they show, like, yes, like, even commenting that, like, yes, it doesn't make any sense. However...
it's why we have to do it, because Kim Kardashian consumes us.
Yeah, and they didn't even go with that scene, thank God. But, like, I just remembered that, like, we did see that scene somewhere, just not actually in the real movie.
Yeah. Oh, also, YouTube's algorithms always weird. Like, if you watch anything, and especially gaming stuff, leads you to, like, alt-right people, and it's basically indoctrinating your children. I'm sorry. I was upset about the PewDiePie thing specifically, but YouTube has a lot more problems than that, honestly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just need to get that off my chest.
Okay.
But I feel like that basically covers what really made us mad about this film. It's
Yeah,
just so much
nothing else was
noise
upsetting.
and volume and like too much packed into a movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Because again, the rest of the film is very good. Again,
Yeah.
I like these characters. I like
Yeah.
Ralph and Vanellope. They have a
Right.
great. The opening scene I adored.
It's great. Yeah,
Like,
I
it-
had a good time.
It was honestly one of the most genuine scenes of like friendship I've ever
Yeah.
seen in an animated movie. 'Cause
Right.
I'm like, this is what friends do. They just hang out and
Yeah.
talk and chill. Like, I love visually how the world is. It's vibrant and colorful
Yeah.
and snappy animation. Like, I thought the action scenes were all really good and had a good sense of scope and scale. And basically every joke hit for me other than a few, like, meta ones. And I actually really liked the ending. Again, somehow
Yeah.
the Wreck-It Ralph films have very emotionally effective endings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, it reminds me of, like, the two films this reminds me of for some reason are Incredibles 2 and Monsters U. Incredibles 2 in the sense that it gets muddled with a lot of plot and, like, trying to, like, re-engineer the theme.
Yeah.
But then it reminds me of Monsters U in that it has a shockingly quiet and thoughtful ending. And also, like, it has a moral... Like, the moral lesson is not, like, hey, everything's going to be perfect exactly how you want it. It's like, no, things are going to be different. And, you're going to be okay. Like,
Right.
the world's not going to end because something changed.
Yeah.
And because we have this scene where, Vanellope's getting ready to leave for Slaughter Race, and, like, both of them are kind of awkward about it because they're realizing, like, oh,
is
we're
a
both
thing
okay with this,
forever.
but we're also not okay with this.
Yeah.
And they have this emotional hug where they talk about how much they love each other, and the medal that they're both wearing reconnects. And
That's
I'm
like really like that really hit home for you. That cookie
hit.
medal. Yeah.
I'm like, that's like, this is why Disney's Disney and everybody else is everybody else.
Everybody else, yeah.
And I'm like, damn, this is like, I wish, like, the things I didn't like about this movie didn't exist so I could just harp on this ending so much. And, like, I love the little bit we get with Fix-It Felix and Calhoun. I, like, to the point where I'm
Right.
mad there wasn't a subplot with them. Which I have to
know.
guess got left on the cutting room floor when they realized
Yeah.
how much stuff they had. Like, I mean, I don't know. What did you like about the movie?
My favorite part about the movie was just the kind of self-discovery journey that Vanellope goes on to. I first of all, I think Sarah Silverman gave a really, really good performance, and I feel
Yeah.
like her character or her performance like matured.
Yeah.
In this, like, it wasn't so, like, plucky and, like,
Yeah.
like, fast and jumpy, and, like, as I felt like Vanellope was really, like, hyper, I guess I
Yeah.
would call it in the first movie, and so I really, like that it actually felt like she grew, because,
Despite
is
not
she
really
kind of a
changing.
child?
Yeah.
Yeah, despite not really changing at all. But, like, I don't know, she just kept saying things that were, like, really hitting home for me, like, right now, like, I felt like Vanellope was a metaphor for, like, being a 20-something right
Yeah.
now. It's like, what am I doing on the planet?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what am I doing right now, and what is it I actually want to be doing? And it's like, is this thing that I signed up for, like, really, like, my thing anymore?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so...
Like, I accomplished everything I was told to, but now what?
But, like, now, yeah, this isn't exactly, like, what I thought this was going to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really identified with her, and I felt, like, comforted by, like, this character, like, also going on this sort of, eat, pray, love thing.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah.
That was really good. I don't know. How about you? Like, oh, the princesses. The best part.
Are we ready to get to the princess scene? Because we made a point
is
to,
it
like...
a good time to? Yeah, it's its
I
own
think it's a
point in our
good time.
notes. Yeah.
Because honestly, I
Okay.
covered what I wanted to talk about. Like, I like the
Yeah.
plot. I like Ralph.
We
I
talked
like
about what we
Vanellope.
hate. Yeah.
I do like that, like, as ridiculous as the giant Ralph is, I kind of like it as a visualization for insecurity. Like, the worst of someone coming out into light.
Yeah.
I love, like, I love all the music.
Yeah.
I actually like the Slaughter Race song, even though it's more Broadway than most Disney stuff.
Yeah, it really was.
With its own tap
and
number.
I wasn't expecting it to go in that direction. Like, it went real Muppets.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
I didn't like the Miranda Sings cameo, but
No,
I did
we're
like
against it.
Yeah, that was where I'm like,
We've
God.
always been against that.
I did like the I Has Cupquake cameo because that was like a subtle one that didn't draw attention to itself.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that one, but she was one of the people trying to steal Shank's car. She was the
Right.
girl with the
Oh,
cupcake
yeah,
on.
yeah, okay.
Which I'm like, see, that's a nice, subtle, like, I've watched her work, so I know
Right.
she's there.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, you're not, like, pausing the plot to have a bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think pretty much 90% of the jokes hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's time.
Okay.
I think an hour is a good enough time as any. I was like, I'm going to make it home for the fourth quarter. Never mind.
No, yeah.
But that's okay because this needed to be addressed.
Yeah.
This needed to. The princess scene.
Okay, the princesses.
Princesses. I got it. I was like, the lyrics will come to me.
I thought you were doing the SpongeBob The Krabby Patty. Okay, sorry.
Pour one out for SpongeBob.
I know. Okay, yeah. We should. We'll talk
do
about
an
that.
episode
We'll
about
do
that
that later.
another
We'll do
day.
that later. Okay.
We don't have time.
We
tonight.
don't have time. No,
I'll
we
go
don't. I
crazy.
don't have the emotional capacity right now.
We're going crazy right now. Help.
They planned this. They were like, okay, Stanley's gonna die, and all these kids are in a vulnerable
Yeah.
state, and
He's like 90. It's almost time.
and then Steven Hillenburg, and then they're like, great, like release
Great.
the dragon.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to criticize any of our work because we're emotionally
You're vulnerable.
broken.
Yeah.
So I'm just broken by this movie that I
Exactly.
liked. I just
Okay, princesses. So, like, I just want to say, first of all, we already had this kind of extensive preview of this scene. Like, we have already seen
We've seen
most
40-ish
of this
percent
scene.
of
Yeah.
what they do.
And I just knew that, like, if there was anything that they promised us, like, they're going to just take it away and not actually give it to us. So I just figured we were going to get the same exact scene that we've already seen before, and we were going to get nothing else from these princesses. And I was wrong. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah.
I will say,
We get a lot of
really,
each of them.
yeah, the whole discussion about like singing was
Yeah.
like, see, I hate the big strong man comment. I love the singing comment. I'm like, that's a
Yeah.
good meta joke.
That was good, yeah.
like that has a lot of creative stuff.
The big strong man joke was appropriate to like for commercial reasons. Like
Yeah,
and
it's
I
a
feel like
good-
they wrote it like we just need something to hook people.
It
in
only
from the
bothers
outside.
me because the Lego Movie trailer has it too. The Lego Movie
Oh,
2 trailer
right.
has it too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, can we stop, please?
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, all of the princesses get a few good lines. It's
Yeah.
pretty balanced.
It's pretty balanced. I feel like the only one that doesn't is Merida.
Yeah, Merida gets her the
They're
haha
like,
Scottish people are
"Haha,
incomprehensible
this is
bit.
kind of racist. Yeah.
Which, yeah. Like, honestly, we do at the Renaissance Fair too. The running joke is
Yeah,
Scottish
we
person
don't
is
understand
incomprehensible.
them.
Also,
Yeah.
her children are bears, which is weirdly similar to, why am I blanking on the word? Brave.
No. Yeah.
I forgot
I'm
her
like,
movie. Her movie's not that
For a
memorable.
while, I couldn't even.
That movie was like
No.
That movie came and went like a
I
poof.
know. Yeah. But I liked that movie. It's not bad. It's
not terrible.
No,
It's just
like
kinda-
I have a good time watching.
I got
it.
overhyped for it. I think that's what
But
did it.
oh, did you?
Yeah.
See, I didn't watch it until like years after it came out
Yeah,
initially.
I think
so-
that would have helped if I
yeah.
did that.
Anywho,
But yeah,
she's the only one that like doesn't really get a lot of the same personality. I feel like the main princesses who are like kind of dominating this scene are Snow White, which I thought was too bold because we don't have that same voice actor and we only
I was
have.
gonna say I'm pretty sure that's not the same person.
No, she is long gone.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And so now we're doing like this sort of legacy imitation. Like they call it a legacy voice, and then they hire a new actor to do like Yogi Bear again, or like
Yeah.
or Bugs Bunny again.
Her voice
And
doesn't quite match. It's not as airy.
It's very obviously not the same, and it really like cartoons her
yeah.
as a person, which like you'll go into later.
Yeah.
Like, but for some reason, she kind of has most of the jokes, and she was never a funny cat. Like nothing
Yeah.
about her is toonish.
Honestly,
she
she's
died.
a page in her character.
Yeah, no,
But
yeah,
also,
she's
it was
literally
one of
she
the
dies.
first feature animated films, so
right,
like
but it's
I'll
like,
cut them
I
some
don't
slack.
think she deserved most of like the the personality. Like she kind of dominates, I feel like.
Elsa gets one line, which is shocking given that was like the biggest film
I
on
had
the
to pay her
planet.
so much, for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. 2 minutes, that's like $80 bazillion.
I feel like, and I guess Jodie Benson, does, so it's between, like, Snow White and Ariel are, like, doing most of the talking, and, like, most
Which
of the
Ariel
bits,
makes
most
sense
of the
because
jokes.
that was, like, the first Renaissance film,
Yeah,
and it's still
she's,
super popular, and they're
know-
working on the live-action one at some point.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, it's, well, I'll say, like, again, there is, like, a visceral pop to seeing them all visualized in a new format.
In the same place.
Like, I'm a sucker for, like, reimagining characters in different media and formats, so seeing them as all CGI characters is exciting.
Yeah.
You and me geeked out about Tiana because it's like, this is the first time she's existed in about 10 years.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and then I was just reading on Instagram. I think I sent this to you, like where Anika Noni Rose, her voice like went to meet with Pixar to be like, hi, can you put my character back the way it was? Like, you guys made her a white girl. It looked like they changed all her features and, like, made her nose small and, like, something about, like, her...
and,
they did
like,
something...
yeah.
Oh, and they lightened her skin or something, and
Yeah.
and she was like, hi, it's important that you put her back the way she was. And they were
Yeah.
like, fine.
This is
So they
like-
put her back the way she was.
Yeah, like, I know Musker and Clemens were downplaying her being the first black princess and all the
Yeah.
promotional stuff, but no, it's pretty damn important.
Yeah. And she even gives an explanation. I forget what it was, but they explained, like, how they made that mistake and that she, like, it was
I mean,
sort of lost in translation, quote
They
unquote.
always do stupid stuff when they add
Right.
princesses to the canon.
Yeah.
But that was pretty egregious.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like we talked about the scene a lot, but yeah, it's a scene that just works. Like, in
yeah.
all of the clutter and noise of this film, it's a weird focusing moment.
Right.
That weirdly enough helps, like, drive... I was worried it was going to be a scene cul-de-sac where it adds nothing to this plot. Like,
yeah.
but they somehow come up with a way to make it work in terms of, like, oh, we are going to push the themes and ideas of the story forward because it's going to be about Vanellope not having a sense of desire or want in her life.
Yeah.
Like for a lot of the film, she's glitching out as she's getting, like, emotionally distressed. And the idea is, like, because she doesn't know what she wants.
Right.
And the princesses help her kind of focus in on, like, oh, it's okay to want something.
Yeah, you're allowed
Like,
to.
Your wants and needs don't have to always be physical. Sometimes it can be a more abstract feeling. In this
Yeah.
case, for her, it's like the freedom of, like, the online world.
Yeah.
And
Not just a steering wheel.
yeah, not just a steering
Oh,
wheel.
a steering wheel. That was a really funny joke, actually.
steering wheel.
Yeah.
I honestly thought they were going to tie the live action stuff into it too and make a joke
Really?
about that. But I guess it was probably for the best not to. The final bit where they all come back in to save the day, that's a get up and cheer moment.
Yo, that was just amazing. First of all, okay, the score for this, like, just if you just close your eyes and listen to this scene, like, you can
We'll know
see it.
who is
Like,
doing-
you know
who's
who's
involved.
doing what. Like, somehow they have this orchestrated score where they put, like,
Music-
the main melodic
yeah.
hook from every single princess into, and, like, sewed them
Yeah.
all together.
Yes. And not specifically their song all the time. Like, for example, for Frozen, they don't do Let It Go.
No,
they
but
do,
like
the,
it
one of the key
sounds-
score numbers
right,
from
exactly.
that
Like they
movie.
they literally picked out like
Yes.
the right chords that sound like Arendelle.
Yes.
Like that. Yeah. Like
and
this, like,
immediately
we're in a
you're
nice
like,
town
that's
theme.
from Frozen.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and then
I've
the
heard
one that got me was Mulan's because like
Yes.
she has that like that horn like
Just
doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
powerful, like, yeah,
yeah, like we're in war. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
The one that gets me is the one that starts it off because it starts, Moana shoots some water into the air and Ariel dives into it and immediately you just go into do 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 and I'm just like, oh, and immediately I'm like, oh, I see what they're doing here and I'm really
Yeah.
happy about it. And like, it just, like, again, it's like, it's an Avengers moment. It's like that
Yeah.
moment where, like, Iron Man's flying through the battle for New York and you're seeing all the different Avengers do their thing and, like, he stops to help out Captain America and you're just like, and then you see Thor and Hulk, like, punching a bunch of aliens together. It's like, immediately, that's just so viscerally satisfying to, like, see all of these characters come together.
right.
And I'm hard pressed to think why it works so much better than all of the other stuff in the movie in terms of, like, it, like, seeing Eeyore, like, stormtroopers run past Eeyore frustrated
No,
me,
I
but
hated
this
it.
works.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just the artistry of it's better, or, like, it's a better
no.
payoff. It's not just references. Like, you know, they set up these characters and then it pays them off, where it's
I
like...
just can't think of a reason why stormtroopers would talk to Grumpy. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't make any... Like, I cannot rationalize that.
Yes.
And I'm, like...
So for
I'm
you, it's like a
offended.
continuity thing of, like,
Yeah,
you can
this doesn't make
imagine
any sense.
this princess canon coming together,
Yeah,
but
this
not
makes
the different
sense.
parts of Disney
but,
coming
like,
together.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I get... That makes sense. I think for me, yeah, it's more of... It's probably part of that, and I do think it's more of, like, a satisfying... It's more satisfying in, like, a story sense.
Yeah.
Because it has a purpose. Like, it's not just, hey, let's, like, lord over our kingdom. Like, everything the light touches is quite literally our kingdom now.
Yeah.
You know, when Lion King first did that, that was, like, a dreamy, like, inspirational thing and not a thinly veiled threat.
Yeah. I know.
But, yeah, like, it's so much more satisfying. Like, if the scene in Oh My Disney represents the bad aspects of Ralph Breaks the Internet, the princesses represent the good aspirational parts of it.
Right.
Of, like, taking these characters we know and doing fun things with them and finding, like, an emotional core in them. Mm-hmm. And, like, finding reasons for them to be together.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Purpose. That's the
Right.
key word. The stuff that has a purpose in Wreck-It Ralph, or Ralph Breaks the Internet, I keep wanting to call it Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph Breaks the Internet, great. Stuff that feels more like just random, no.
No. Yeah.
I think that's the takeaway. There was one interesting thing that really bugged me about, there's one thing that bugs me about the scene, and it's kind of a weird, abstract, like, snooty film school kind of thing. So I took a lot of animation classes in film school, and there's a lot to say about, like, establishing rules and techniques in animation. Yeah. And Disney, more than any other company, and this is one of the reasons I think they succeed so much, is they have very strict rules for how their characters should be animated. And, like, there are different archetypes for these characters.
Right.
Hold on, I wrote a lot of, like, some of the bigger points of this down, and I want to just skim through what I was saying. So, like, for example, the main characters of a Disney movie, they have really strict and tight figures.
Yeah.
Like, their drawings and their models stay super consistent throughout the film.
Yeah.
They never, like, contort weirdly or make weird faces or do something beyond physical limitations, even though you can do that in animation.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to, because, like, they're the protagonists. They're supposed to be very human and instantly, like, identifiable and empathetic and conventionally, they're supposed to be, like, icons of beauty. Meanwhile, like, villains, their models will get very, like, contorted, and they'll have very sharp faces. Like, their faces will be either, like, too thin or too pointy. Or too round. Mm-hmm. Like, because they're supposed to be slightly, like, subhuman and, like, otherworldly and scary.
Yeah.
Then we get to, like, every Disney movie has the comedy characters, like, 3 or 4. In Princess and the Frog, it's Tiana's friend. In Lion King, it's Timon and Pumbaa. In,
Charlotte,
yeah. In Pocahontas, it's basically everyone. Like, there's so many comedy characters in that. There's the raccoon and the hummingbird and that...
What's his name?
Scrawny British guy. Yes. And
General
their whole thing is...
I don't know his name, he came so highly recommended. Yeah, I remember that guy.
Well, I like you. And then it's like, well... Why don't the natives want to help us? Because we stole their land and murdered them?
Yeah, and because we took up the earth and
we destroyed their natural landscape.
Cut down the trees. Yeah, that moment.
Yes. But basically the point I'm getting at with this is, like, with comedy characters, that's when the rules of they play fast and loose with some of the rules of animation. This is where you get into the fun stuff. Like, because their faces will stretch in ways your faces don't.
Yeah.
Like, their proportions will stretch, or they'll be in weird poses to do, like, comedic things, or, like, they'll cut a few frames out of their motion to make them move a little faster or weirdly. Basically, what I'm getting at is every character, like, well, one of Disney's successes is they follow these rules really strictly, and when they don't, it creates problems.
Yeah.
The biggest example of that, off the top of my head, is Mulan 2. In Mulan 2, everyone is animated like a comedy character for some reason. Probably because it was made by a different, one of their, like, subsidiary studios, and it was made on the cheap.
Yeah.
So, like, you have these you have these scenes where like Shang and Mulan are doing, like, Shang has this like meltdown scene in that movie where he's
Yeah.
making all these angry faces. I'm like, whoa, what that? That's not right. And even though it's like, yeah, animation can do that, your brain says no because you know this character.
Right.
He's supposed to have stoic,
Yeah.
thoughtful faces and conventionally beautiful faces.
Right.
The point of all this is Wreck-It Ralph animates all of its characters like comedy characters.
Yeah.
Because it's a very... And that's not a bad thing, because it's, you know, it's a farcical, light, breezy... Both of them are comedies before anything else.
Yeah.
So it works. So when Ralph does all of his, like, stuff, it's funny. When Penelope does stuff, it's funny. But when you get the
When
princesses...
Cinderella
Yes.
from the jump was uncomfortable for me.
Yes, that one
I
is
couldn't
the
get
most
chill with her.
uncanny. Like,
Yeah.
when she points, like, the bit where she smashes
She's
her
literally about to,
shoe
like,
like a
stab.
shiv and
Yeah.
stab a motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's funny, but it's weird for our
I
brain
couldn't
because her
make
face...
peace with that,
Yeah,
yeah.
her face is very, like, she's,
doing a
like...
thing.
Yeah, she's, like, grimacing and trying to look tough.
Cinderella, like Snow White's
It's-
original face, it does things, but Cinderella's
that.
face never did anything.
Yeah, because that's a, like, very comedic animated
Yeah.
face, and it just doesn't
And they made
fit.
her extremely strict in the
Yeah.
like in
Like,
her original
exactly.
run. Like she has no facial expressions basically. Like,
Or, like, Mulan does this yell where her mouth, like, is way wider than it normally would
yeah.
be. Yeah, so... As a result, there's an uncanny valley with a lot of them.
And even in Mulan's movie, I mean, like they kind of tune her up when she pretends to be a man and she like
Yeah.
has to like she like starts walking
Yeah,
funny and,
I
like,
do want to
doing,
stress
like,
these
man
rules
things,
aren't like these rules aren't
so
locked in
for her,
stone.
this makes a little sense, but it's like specifically Snow
Not
White
in
and
this
Cinderella
context,
like did not
though. Yeah.
necessarily work. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say the rules get bent even in the original movies.
Yeah.
The example I think I talked with you is in Little Mermaid, when Ariel gets on land, she has a lot of big, naive,
Yeah.
goofy faces.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense in the logic of the film, because she's
Right.
literally a fish out of water,
Right.
and her state has been altered because she
Yeah.
does not have a voice. So that makes sense. Yeah, with Mulan, she's not, you know, she's disguising as a guy, which creates comedic scenarios. So yes, you can play around with the faces there.
Yeah.
In this state where they're all supposed to be their kind of like most idealized form,
And, like,
it
relaxed
feels
selves.
weird.
Yeah.
And again, this doesn't destroy it. I just think it's a fascinating like case study in like like if you want a baby's first intro to the animated models, I think watching all of their movies and then watching Wreck-It Ralph, I think is a very good case in that.
Yeah.
And there's also, we established Cinderella does not have ears. Why does she have ears now?
Yeah, no. I have no idea, but they look odd on her head.
Yeah. So, I think, like, I guess to summarize the princess scene, like, I think that was the part everyone was cringing about going into the movie because it took up so much of the marketing.
Yeah.
Turned out pretty darn
No,
good.
it was great,
They didn't
yeah.
blow it.
No,
which is
not at
what's
all.
important.
Not by any stretch, yeah. Okay.
So, alright, we're almost to the end, guys.
We're
Don't
almost
worry.
the end. All right.
So,
The cast?
yeah, the cast.
Okay. Let's see. So we talked about John C. Reilly.
Sarah Silverman.
Big fan, yeah, big fan of
Love
Sarah
John C.
Silverman.
Riley.
Yeah, Sarah Silverman does great. Taraji P. Henson plays Taraji P. Henson, but we like her.
Yes.
So it's
But that works
fine.
because we love her and she's fun.
Yeah, she does it fine, and like, yeah, it's fine.
I would say,
It's good. Like, you know, I enjoyed her presence. Yeah.
again, I'm disappointed Jane Lynch wasn't in more of the film because she was
No.
like the funniest character for me in the original.
Yeah.
Because that bit where they're like, she was programmed with the most tragic backstory ever. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
the most funny bit for me in the original.
Right. And then Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot is why we made this a little subsection.
Yeah.
I'm worried Gal Gadot is going to fall into the Christopher Reeve problem, where she had a breakout role as a superhero and then can never break.
Stop doing that
Yes,
thing.
because her voice and demeanor and just pop culture presence is so
Yeah, is just
singular.
Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Yes, like
She just naturally fits into Wonder Woman as a thing.
Yes.
Like, you're kind of racially
because
ambiguous.
yes,
You have
you're
this
racially
accent
ambiguous.
thing going
You
on.
have an accent that reminds
We
us that you're not
believe-
American, but also
But,
not
like,
technically
what are
Greek,
you? Yeah.
even though you're
And, like,
Greek myth.
I would believe you came from like Lesbian Island.
Yes.
Like, so, but like this character
The problem
believe
is
all
that
the same
voice.
things.
Yes, that voice is still on this character.
Is on this character.
She does
too.
not mask it. She just leans into
No,
it.
no, she just. It's just it's Gal Gadot advanced.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, I don't hate the character of Shank. I think
I
she's
really
a
like
perfectly
her.
cool character.
Yeah,
she
I
has a
think
cool
she's
design.
great for Vanellope. Yeah, she's cool. And it's especially my favorite part about this character is that like when she's actually playing in her games, like she's straight up a villain and like literally
Yeah.
kills people. But
Yeah.
she's actually like the most like voice of reason, like gentle.
Yeah.
Like she has
She's
the
a
most
nice person.
empathy compared to all the other characters in this world. Like in
She
real
also.
life.
I also just love how she's animated. She has a lot of like very like organic movements.
Yeah,
Like
she
she's not
does.
like she's never stiff. She's
No.
always like
Yeah, she's
bouncing
got
around
she like her hair like
Yeah.
she's got a lot of really natural
in a
looking
really
movements.
realistic way
Yeah.
that feels
all
weirdly
of her
like
movement and expressions look real. Yeah.
yeah. Like it feels like an actual like driver, like
Yeah.
someone an act like it feels like if you put that character in a Fast and Furious movie,
Yeah.
physically they would feel
Right.
right. Yeah, I was really impressed with that. Like all of her crew are basically one note characters, but they get good bits. I don't know any other names off the top of my head.
No, neither do I.
I really warmed up to Spamley because I just love like crappy New Yorkers like voices like
cab driver. Yeah.
his little brother who's just a circle with weirdly extendable arms.
Yeah, that we get no real explanation.
Yeah,
on
that never
one.
comes up.
But I mean, like you always attach yourself to like cabbie characters, and I mean, like, have you ever met anybody like that in New York? Like, are there literally people where you're like, oh my god, like you're the cartoon?
I'm once there was a cop.
Really?
Someone was urinating. Someone was peeing like on the side of the street, and a cop goes, "Oh, buddy, couldn't keep it in." A part of the problem is the parts of New York I hang around in are the most businessy parts, so it's a lot of people coming in from other places.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't seen that many people like that, but it feels right. It feels like I have, even if I
Right.
can't pinpoint specific moments.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, what's most impressive about this series to me is they get a lot of, like, celebrity voices. Like, Pixar got really popular partially because, like, for,
Tom Hanks.
yeah, they did a lot of celebrity voices, but they felt like they belonged to the characters. It wasn't like
Yeah.
DreamWorks where they're just picking
Where
the
it's
biggest
just
names they can
like,
think of, and they're doing
Here's
bits.
Patrick, what's his name? Again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Voicing another character for us. Remember in the 2000s where he was in every movie?
Patrick,
What's his, you know his name.
the guy who talks
John-
like this.
Yeah,
Or
he
Peter.
plays, what's his name? Yeah,
Joe.
Vader.
Yeah, Vader.
Joe.
Yeah. No, he wasn't everything.
And it was like from 2000.
He was in the B movie, right?
To 2011. Yeah, he was in. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was in every movie, and
Well,
that's not
the,
an exaggeration.
That's my case
Every
in point
movie.
for the DreamWorks, like, oh, just get the biggest celebrity name. Jerry Seinfeld in the B movie. Which,
Yeah, what?
I don't want to turn this into a diversion about the B
Don't
movie.
even talk about that movie right
But-
now.
Okay, yeah.
We don't
I'm
have
not-
time for that.
I'm
We
not-
don't have time for
this.
that.
We don't. It's late. It's
No.
11:15.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about like Mike Myers playing an ogre
Mike
with
Myers,
Cameron
Eddie
Diaz.
Murphy.
Yeah.
And even before Mike Myers, it was going to be Chris Farley, who, like,
Yeah.
even though he's kind of in a weird spot, he was still a pretty big star for a while.
Yeah. that could have been like David Spade or something. Oh no, David Spade
Yeah.
was working for Disney.
Well, no, David Spade now is
Did
in the
Disney
Hotel
thing,
Transylvania
yeah.
movies.
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah.
No, a good example is like Madagascar. That's
Yeah.
we're like, okay, we got Jada
Celebrities.
Pinkett.
Yeah.
We got
Chris Rock, whose voice...
Chris Rock doing
yeah.
the Chris Rock thing.
Or DreamWorks, in Captain Underpants, they got, oh my god, how am I forgetting his name?
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. How could I
Yeah,
blank on
easy.
that? Kevin Hart, and it's like, this doesn't work,
Doing
because the other
Kevin
guy
Hart-
sounds like a kid, and he doesn't.
No, yeah, he sounds like Kevin Hart.
He sounds like Kevin Hart, which I don't hate Kevin Hart.
But
I'm gonna-
is this a children's film
Yeah.
or not? Yeah.
But yeah, basically the point is, this is Pixar got really good at picking celebrity voices that
That could
blended
play
in.
characters like Joan
Yeah.
Cusack. Yeah.
Where the character feels like its own thing and not
Yeah,
just
like
an
you're
extension
not-
of this actor.
No, not
Even
by
though
any
Tom Hanks has a
stretch.
very distinct voice.
Exactly. Yeah.
And again, this series is great with that. Gal Gadot notwithstanding. And again, she does a great performance. It's just the
Yeah.
problem that she is so identifiable as a person in presence
Yeah. Yep.
that, her first role was going to be the one that defined her forever. Well, it wasn't even her first role. It was just the first one that everyone
That
knew.
mattered. Yeah. Everyone knew.
But yeah, killer work by John C. Reilly, killer work by Sarah
Yeah.
Silverman. Again, just home runs after home runs.
Right.
Whew. So I guess the big question comes up: how do you rank this? Like in terms of the recent Disney canon, and especially compared to the other Wreck-It Ralph.
I don't know. I mean, as far as sequels go, I am more satisfied with this than I was with Incredibles 2.
I would agree with that, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even though it was bloated and like
Yeah.
I complained a lot about some of the stuff it did.
It gave me the things I asked
Yeah,
for. It gave me what it promised it would
Yes,
give me.
and
and
it also-
Incredibles 2 did not.
Yeah. And more than anything, it changed the game in terms of scope and like
Right.
the vision of this world.
Yeah.
While still keeping the
Literally
rules consistent.
changed the game.
Yeah.
You get
All
it?
right. All
That's
right.
a good
all
one.
right.
was
You're lucky I
yours.
don't just delete this right now.
You did it.
But yeah, it keeps the rules consistent and it builds it in an organic and natural way.
Yeah.
And has an ending that I think succeeds more than The Incredibles
Yeah.
did. Well, not the very last scene in The Incredibles, which I still think is great, but I mean, it is, again, it's very similar to Incredibles 2 in the sense of like it's doing a lot of similar stuff, but it gets muddled, but I think it does more different, so it succeeds more.
Right.
Like it's an interesting bunch of like sequels, Monsters U, Incredibles 2, and then this. And Finding Dory.
I never saw that.
Which again, another one where it's like it's mostly just bits and jokes.
I know.
And then a very emotional ending, where I'm like, I wish this felt more earned. Like I
Right.
wish they focused the plot a little more to make this more earned. Yeah, I would. Of the recent, I definitely like it more than Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
I think.
But I don't know when I'll be ready to watch it again.
Yeah, but if you asked me
I
to
need
watch
rest.
Incredibles 2 again, I'd be like, all right.
Yeah, sure.
Whereas this, I'd be like,
I don't think so. I don't think I can do it.
I need
right now.
yeah.
I need a year.
I don't
Give me
think I
6
could
months.
watch it whenever.
No. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is not like I'll catch it on
Yeah.
television. Like I would keep going. I would not
Yeah.
stop on this.
I guess I would give the original Wreck-It Ralph a slight... Would I, though? It's tough, because, even though, I feel like the first Wreck-It Ralph is more focused and,
Yeah.
better structured and has a lot of
Something
good
about
stuff.
these two movies feels not comparable.
Yeah, they feel like the scope is so different.
Yeah, I feel like Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet is more relatable to Incredibles 2 than it is to its own original movie.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a lot of my thoughts... I'd watch it again over The Rescuers Down Under, which I know is considered, an underappreciated classic, but I'm sorry, it's still kind of meh.
Okay.
Honestly, I was thinking about that, and I'm like, you know what happened with The Rescuers Down Under? That was one of the first films to experiment with, digital hand-drawn, that would become really big in Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
And they were experimenting with that, and for some reason got stuck on the wilderness of Australia. So they made this plot about a golden eagle and this kid and a hunter, and Michael Eisner was like, nah, we need to make it more brand recognizable. Why am I saying Michael Eisner sounds like this? He's not that New York.
But he sounds like a thing. He's not
Yeah.
just a guy talking. He's got
Yeah.
a sound.
I guess I'm making him like this.
So it wouldn't matter what you do to sound like
I guess
him.
I'm picturing him as a mob boss for some reason. So
Yeah,
I'm going
no,
with
he's sitting at a poker table,
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
smoke and
yeah.
he's got
Listen,
a hat
listen,
on. He's wearing a
listen,
pinstripe
listen,
suit,
listen,
and
yeah.
he's
Yo, listen,
doing
whoever,
this thing with his
listen,
hands.
whoever directed
Listen,
Rescuers Down Under. I don't remember. I know it wasn't Muska and Clemens because
he's
they were
gotta
working
be
on Little
a-
Mermaid this time. But listen, you, we need to make this more brand recognizable. How about you take those little mice, those
Take those little
rescuers?
mice.
How about you put them in the movie? Make it their story. How does
Yeah,
that
that's
sound for
not-
everybody? Which, again, I wish I liked that movie more because Little Mice in a Big World is my genre. I stand for that
That's
genre.
literally all you care about.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will not rest until we have a great Mouse Detective live-action
boy.
remake where it's live sets and digital mice. I think that would be awesome. But anywho, yeah, so I
Okay.
like it more than that. I think
Yeah.
overall, it's a gentleman. It's like a solid 7 out of 10 for me.
Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
Way more
I
hits
like
than
it
misses.
more than Olaf's Frozen Adventure.
Yeah.
Which we can grade Olaf's Frozen Adventure as not a short,
Because
but
that's like
a
30
movie.
goddamn minutes long.
Yeah, we watched that for like 20 minutes and we were like, what movie did we even pay for? I don't even remember what we were going to see. What were we seeing?
What the hell were we seeing?
I don't even know.
Oh my God.
I don't even remember what movie
Oh my
we were there
God.
to see.
What?
I literally can't remember what movie that was.
What?
Okay, hold on.
I'm gonna go crazy. Oh my God, no.
No,
like,
figure it out.
I
Yeah.
know we don't have time for this. The Eagles
Yeah.
game is over.
Oh, who won?
The Eagles by like 2 touchdowns.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles.
We're from
Okay.
Philly, if you didn't
Yes.
know. Or a Philly suburb.
Yeah.
Olaf's Frozen Adventure. Oh, what did it... God, oh my God.
can't
It doesn't have a
remember.
Wikipedia page.
I literally
How am I
have
supposed to... Oh, it does.
no-
It does. Okay.
I have no clue.
Was it Beauty and the Beast? No, Coco. It's with
Oh, Coco. Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I was to look at the last, like, 2 or 3
But
years...
it's like this movie just includes so many other franchises that I can't
It
compare
blurs,
it.
yeah.
Like the story, it's like 50-50, like we have 50% its own story and like 50% all these other things.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't even know
It feels
what
like
other
it's split
sort
in
of
half,
movie.
honestly.
Yeah, like I can't compare it to Monsters U or like anything else, which is why I feel like I can most compare it to Incredibles 2.
I guess
because
if I was
Incredibles 2
forced to-
felt moshy, like
I guess if I was forced to rank it with like the last 3 years of Disney and Pixar movies, I'd probably put it 2 behind Coco, but that's also a testament that we've just had a lot of like solid 7 out of 10 sequels lately.
yeah.
Like we haven't had another big like home
Home
run
run,
from
yeah.
Disney. Although, well, I guess it depends on what you think of Zootopia, which I do not think
Haven't
very
seen
much of
it.
Zootopia.
Yeah, I was never interested in seeing it, and I
Which-
probably never will.
Yeah, which like I'm like no, we can't talk about Zootopia's race
listen.
politics right now. We can't.
Yeah, we can do it.
can't.
We've been talking for an hour and a half.
This is remember when we were like, oh, this
Let's
20-minute
never do
format
it
is so
again.
much better.
Yes.
Because it's crisper.
It was
gets the releases
after
out.
it was after that Star Wars marathon we
Yeah,
went on,
where
and we were like,
almost
let's
went
promise
mad,
never.
and my voice hurts right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like it had to happen this way.
Yeah.
Because this
movie,
film,
man.
like this is the most movie I think I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, Infinity War had like 37 main characters, and even that feels like brisk compared to
that-
this, because mostly it's about a purple dude getting rocks.
Right.
Every scene is Thanos wants a stone, he gets it, and then he uses it to wreck people.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just like it honestly feels like I've seen the beginning and the end of everything, and like seen the things that came before humans, and just the knowledge of that is too much for my brain. So like I think about this movie and I'm like, I remember hazy visions of it, but not the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How do we even end this?
I have no idea. We're both like rubbing our temples. Like,
Yeah, just like,
oh no.
we're both like if we were at, like we use the term Disney desk like we're journalists who are like
Yeah.
on the case, and if there was ever a moment where we really felt like journalists, it's like us at this
It's
desk,
this,
like holding our temples as we're like trying to get our sources straight for a big article.
Right.
I guess if I was to sum it up, I would say, do you have magic podcasts? No. Magic podcasts?
No. Do you have
No.
podcast issues?
Yeah, do
We
you-
don't even have a podcast.
Neither do we.
Neither do we.
But we do.
But we do have a podcast.
And that's the moral of the story.
And yeah.
Until next time.
And somewhere all the princesses do have mothers.
Yes. I'm just
No.
gonna, you know what,
No.
F this. I'm just
No.
I'm gonna dub over this ending with like a musical montage or something,
Okay,
because
forget-
we
Forget we ever had this
yeah,
conversation.
get this, just break the internet,
Okay,
break this
yeah,
podcast.
Ralph
I'm Carter.
breaks our podcast. I'm Sydney.
Have a magical day.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Disney Desk. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and thumbs up this video. For more content, be sure to check out our Tumblr and look for us on Facebook. Have a magical day.